Tonight on NewsWatch, government overreach during the shutdown. How one man is standing his ground against the Obama administration.
Plus, hidden costs in the healthcare law, why your money could soon be going to fund abortions.
And summer camps supporting jihad, why some say the world should be concerned. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. Speaker of the House John Boehner says the House will put forth a measure to temporarily extend the country's debt ceiling.
And with 7 days to go before the U.S. reaches its debt limit, the White House calls the short-term proposal an encouraging sign. Heather Sells has more in tonight's top story.
The temporary fix from the Republican House would extend the debt limit for 6 weeks. The White House says if a clean bill is passed, the president would likely sign it.
And I would hope that the president will look at this as an opportunity and a good faith effort on our part to move halfway to what he's demanded in order to have these conversations begin.
Should the president accept, the extension would not end the partial government shutdown, but it would allow more time for negotiations on a budget deal. Speaker Boehner proposed the plan just this morning. It's yet to be endorsed by the Republican caucus, and some of the details are still up in the air. But if there is enough support within the party, a House vote could come quickly. The latest move from the House came shortly after Treasury Secretary Jack Lew testified before the Senate. He spoke on the consequences the U.S. will face if it doesn't raise the debt ceiling by October 17th.
If Congress fails to meet its responsibility, it could deeply damage financial markets, the ongoing economic recovery, and the jobs and savings of millions of Americans.
Lew said the government is risking its first default in U.S. debt history. Still, some Democrats say they are only willing to negotiate on the debt ceiling when Republicans vote to end the shutdown. Meanwhile, President Obama met with some congressional Democrats and Republicans separately today. They were discussing ways to end the partial government shutdown, which is now in its 10th day. Heather Sells, CBN News.
And for more on this, we turn now to Phil Kerpen. He's the president of American Commitment. Phil, would a 6-week extension on the debt ceiling really help?
Well, what it would do is it would create space between this current fight that we're in over the continuing resolution and funding for Obamacare and this partial government shutdown and this question of the debt ceiling. And so it wouldn't resolve the question of whether we're going to have spending cuts and reforms along with increases in the debt ceiling, a larger increase, but it would sort of defer it for 6 weeks to be able to have these two fights separately. And I think that's what makes it attractive to House Republicans.
Well, Phil, is this move by the House a sign that Republicans are trying to work with the president, or is the GOP giving up their fight?
Well, I think it's a sign that they're not ready to have this second fight on the debt ceiling and have it sort of be rolled into this current fight over the partial government shutdown. More than anything, it's them saying, look, you say you've got to have this debt ceiling increase and it has to be clean. We don't really agree with that, but we'll do it at least on a short-term basis so that we can resolve this other fight. And so in a sense, then, it's meeting the president halfway in that it's giving him what he wants, but it is only doing it on a temporary basis. We're still going to have that bigger fight when the debt ceiling comes back in 6 weeks if they go ahead and pass this.
Well, Speaker Boehner is still calling on the White House to negotiate. What will those negotiations be about?
Well, they're kind of two separate things. We've got this immediate government shutdown fight where Republicans would like to have the same relief for individuals that the biggest businesses got from Obamacare. That is, don't force people into a system that pretty clearly isn't ready. Let's have a 1-year delay of that mandate while they actually fix all these website problems and the rest of it. That's the main thing Republicans want to negotiate in terms of reopening government. And then the second fight over the debt ceiling, Republicans have taken the position that if we're going to authorize more debt that the American people and our children and grandchildren will have to pay back, that ought to be paired with some long-term structural reforms and spending cuts so we're not right back in the same situation again in a year or two.
Well, do you see an end in sight to the government shutdown? I know a lot of people are starting to be affected by it, including myself. I was going to go camping this weekend, but guess what? The national park is shut down. When do you think we're going to see an end in sight to this?
Well, I think if the Democrats are insistent on not providing that same relief to individuals from the Obamacare mandate that Obama's given to the biggest corporations, this could continue for a while, and both sides seem to be dug in. I would hope, however, that at some point the Democrats will at least pass some of these standalone House bills on things like the parks and veterans and the District of Columbia, so that some of these really egregious things where people are being pretty directly impacted can be alleviated even as the rest of this fight goes on. And so that remains to be seen whether that will happen or not. But I tell you, if both sides are dug in on this question of Obamacare relief for individuals, it's hard to see how the overall shutdown ends anytime soon.
All right, Phil, we always appreciate your insights. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
One American businessman is refusing to bow to pressure to close up shop during the government shutdown. His story is just one example of the Obama administration's widespread overreach during the gridlock. Charlene Israel explains.
Glenn Helseth loves serving up good food at his Carrot Tree restaurant in historic Yorktown, something he's been doing for the past 11 years. But the eatery was recently forced to shut its doors due to the government shutdown. The National Park Service owns the building he uses, so Helseth was ordered to move out in 48 hours when the government shutdown began last week.
I was called about 9 o'clock Tuesday morning, October 1st. I was told I had 3 hours to vacate my restaurant. I was shocked and called back to say that's inadequate. I can't possibly do that.
He was granted a 3-day stay, but eventually closed. A week later, in defiance of government orders, he reopened for business, a move he knows was risky, but he considers well worth it.
I'm willing to go to jail for this. If the Park Service wants to put me in jail because I want to honor the terms of my contract, well, they have that right, I suppose.
He says he can't understand why he should have to close his business, something he says would hurt his bottom line.
This is October. This is our busiest month of the year. I need October to make my year.
He also points out that during the shutdown, he was still obligated to pay other expenses for the facility.
I'm paying for the insurance on this building. While it's closed, I'm paying for the utilities on this building. I am paying for the security system that is protecting this building, and I cannot use this building.
The welfare of his employees was also a big concern.
My staff is not getting any back pay. My people aren't getting paid for the days we've missed. I need to look out for the welfare of my staff.
As you can see from the line to get inside the Carrot Tree, the actions taken by this restaurant owner have ignited a firestorm of support, with many calling it the new battle for Yorktown. Lindsay, you're here in support of the restaurant owner remaining open, well, reopening despite the government shutdown. Why was it so important for you?
We're the little man against the big government. He owns a business, he supports workers, and he did what was right, and it could cost him a personal sacrifice.
He gets fined. I'll be the first one on the front line raising the money to pay his fine for him. I think it's remarkable what he's doing. It takes guts.
They thought what was being done was illegal. He's got a lease with the government to run a business that doesn't require the Park Service to be present. They don't work here. All he has to do is open his door and do business.
In addition to the controversy with Helseth, the National Park Service has been involved in several other incidents that have outraged Americans, as the Obama administration has closed public areas that stayed open in past shutdowns. Rangers locked a tour group, including senior citizens and foreign visitors, in a hotel as they visited Yellowstone National Park when the shutdown began. The tour guide told the local newspaper, the Livingston Enterprise, that the Park Service used Gestapo tactics. The service told Bruce O'Connell to close his inn and restaurant in Pisgah Inn. It sits on federal land on the Blue Ridge Parkway in North Carolina. He did, but then reopened it. But the service closed him down with armed rangers. One angry Park Service ranger in Washington told the Washington Times, "We've been told to make life as difficult for people as we can. It's disgusting." The Weekly Standard says the conduct of the National Park Service over the last week might be the biggest scandal of the Obama administration. Congressional Republicans say they're getting numerous reports and will investigate. We reached out to the National Park Service for an interview, but our calls were not returned. Meanwhile, Helseth has this message for those in Washington.
Please settle your issues so that we continue going about our business. It's all I want to do. I want to do what we were meant to do. If I can do so now while you all continue squabbling, that's fine by me. Please leave me alone to sell my carrot cake.
Charlene Israel, CBN News, Yorktown, Virginia.
Looks good, too. Well, the site to enroll in the president's health care plan has cost taxpayers big. Government records show healthcare.gov cost upwards of $600 million to create. That's more than $500 million over estimated costs. Even with a high price tag, the site has been plagued with technical problems.
How can we tax people for not buying a product from a website that doesn't work?
The administration has declined to disclose how many people have enrolled in Obamacare through the website. Some insurance companies say they've had 0 new clients sign up. Well, a part of the president's health care plan could have you paying for some unknown and unwanted costs.
That includes funding abortions. Paul Strand has more on this hidden Obamacare fee from Capitol Hill.
Pro-life lawmakers are furious over what they call an effort to hide something important from the public. Which Obamacare health insurance exchanges will be forced by law to make everyone in them pay a monthly surcharge to pay for abortions for those who want them. These exchanges are encouraged to talk as little as possible about this fee.
Many pro-life Americans may unwittingly purchase pro-abortion plans because of a marketing secrecy clause embedded in Obamacare, which stipulates that the surcharge is minimally disclosed and only at the time of enrollment. In other words, bury it in the fine print.
Every month, people will be getting their insurance bill, and they'll look at their breakdown of their charges, and there will be no charge there showing that they are paying every month for abortion.
These pro-life legislators and dozens of others are going to try to pass a measure to require health plans to say plainly and prominently whether they cover abortion and will collect a monthly fee from all members to pay for it. These lawmakers suspect the reason the information is buried in such fine print is because abortion supporters know there'd be a huge outcry from millions of Americans if they could plainly see the facts.
Clearly, Americans who are pro-life would object to paying for a health care plan that included abortion coverage, and then being forced to pay for an abortion surcharge into a fund that is meant to be used solely for the purpose of destroying human life.
One Democrat member of the pro-life caucus hopes the administration will decide to take action to force the health exchanges to be transparent about this without being forced to by Congress.
I'm hopeful that it's not going to take legislation. I am hopeful that the administration will stand up right now and make this change and require that transparency.
But Arizona's Trent Franks doubts this president would ever make such a move.
This president, for some unspeakable reason, seems committed to cement his place in history as the abortion president. In every area that even in a nuanced way or indirectly affects abortion, he is somehow one of the greatest cheerleaders for abortion on demand.
Smith is angry because he says the president promised Congress this kind of thing wouldn't happen under Obamacare.
It's unethical. And frankly, it's an absolute breach of the president's own words.
It's wrong that the American consumer is being kept from this very important information.
It's astonishing to me that we've come to the point when we don't even tell people, when we're willing to try to hide from those of a differing opinion, whether or not that their dollars are even going to pay for the killing of these children.
Maybe the bitterest pill for many pro-life Americans to swallow is seeing just how actively pro-abortion their government has become.
For decades, it was understood abortion was so abhorrent that no taxpayer dollars could be used to fund it. To where now, in one fell swoop, millions of Americans will be forced to pay for abortions through a monthly surcharge that they won't even know about because it's hidden in the finest of fine print. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Capitol Hill.
Coming up, controversy over Christmas music. Why one Wisconsin school district is trying to ban some classic songs.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Well, Wendy, it's only October, but the war on Christmas is already waging in one Wisconsin city.
Yeah, a school district issued a near total ban on religious music this coming Christmas season. But as Lori Johnson tells us, many locals are having none of it.
The Wausau, Wisconsin School District informed its music teachers from now on singing about Santa is okay, but Jesus, not so fast. Beginning this December, they must either perform 5 secular songs for every 1 religious one, have a concert with no holiday music at all, or cancel the concert altogether. The school superintendent says public schools shouldn't be endorsing any one religion.
The goal is to make sure that students do not feel coerced into performing songs that make them very uncomfortable.
But the new order seems to be what's making people feel uncomfortable. The high school choir director called off all 15 of the elite Master Singers concerts, saying this group sings at Christmas programs. We sing for nursing homes, grade schools, businesses. To do that without Christmas music doesn't make sense. Many parents agree and are angry about the dissolution of the traditional school Christmas concerts.
Schools should not establish religion, should not promote it, but it should not inhibit it.
Even the school board appears to have been blindsided by the new ban on Christmas songs.
What precipitated this change? Were there complaints? If so, from whom? How many? When did it happen? What kind of documentation do we have for them? It really is that particular question. Why did this have to happen?
The superintendent says backing away from religious music should protect the district from being sued, but didn't mention any lawsuit in particular.
This is all part of the Establishment Clause, so nothing has to trigger it really. This is what music in public schools or any teaching in public schools needs to follow.
This isn't over. The school board will discuss the new music standards and hear from the community at an upcoming meeting that's expected to be standing room only. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Up next, why money from the UN and U.S. could be going to camps that teach Palestinian children how to wage holy war.
Stop struggling with heavy hoses that are kinked and deliver little or no water, or worse, break. Introducing the incredible flexible hose. Turn the water on and it expands up to 3 times its original length, so you can easily guide it anywhere you need without tangling. When you turn the water off, as it drains, the hose retracts back to its original shape. Standard rubber hoses can weigh between 8 and 12 pounds, but a 25-foot flexible hose weighs less than a pound. The flexible hose is so compact and lightweight, a child can manage a 75-foot hose easily. The flexible hose will never kink and is guaranteed to take the mess out of watering your lawn and plants. So washing your windows or spraying off your gutters has never been easier. The flexible hose is made of a tough double wall construction that is designed to bend and stretch but never kink.
Flexible hose is designed like a fire hose for speed, storage, and strength to last a really long time.
Call or visit flexiblehose.com to order the incredible flexible hose for only $19.95. Call right now and we will include a 7-way adjustable spray nozzle free. You can choose a full action spray, a gentle mist, a powerful jet, a vertical mist, flat spray, a cone spray, or a soaker setting. So stop coiling your hose with bulky devices. Flexible hose automatically retracts in seconds and weighs less than 1 pound. In fact, a 75-foot hose easily fits in a small bucket and stores away neatly in a drawer. Flexible hose saves you precious space on boats and is perfectly portable for RVs. But wait, order today and we'll give you a second flexible hose system free. Just pay separate processing and handling. That's 2 flexible hoses and 2 7-way adjustable spray nozzles, a $40 value, all for only $19.95. This offer is not available in any store. Order now.
To order flexible hose and take advantage of this amazing double offer, call 1-800-769-3384 or go to flexiblehose.com. Remember, this offer is not available in stores, so call now.
Slashing U.S. aid to Egypt will not have much impact on that country. At least that's what Secretary of State John Kerry says. At a press conference today, Kerry emphasized the Obama administration's commitment to restoring democracy in Egypt and says the U.S. will stay engaged with the country's interim leaders, but that Egypt's current authorities have not met up to some standards of ruling. Kerry's statements come after the State Department said it would freeze hundreds of millions of dollars in aid for Egypt, most of it in military assistance. Well, elsewhere in the Middle East, imagine a summer camp teaching children how to make holy war against their enemies.
Yeah, believe it or not, it's happening at some Palestinian camps. And what's worse, American tax money could be helping pay for the facilities where these lessons on jihad are held.
Chris Mitchell has more in tonight's Focus Reports.
فلسطين عربية من المي للمية.
This clip comes from a 20-minute documentary exposing summer camps that encourage Palestinian children to violently take back their homes from Israel. The film also points to a connection between these camps and the United Nations. While these camps were not sponsored by the United Nations Relief Works Agency, or UNRWA, they were held at UNRWA facilities. Some say that makes the organization just as guilty.
لكن نيجي بنقعدهم انه انت ايش بلدك ايش بلدك ايش بلدك.
احنا من حيفا. من يافا.
بصير انتماء اكثر للطفل. يعني بصير الاطفال هنا يعني احنا ما بيخلي يعني حتى الان صار الولد عند الطفل او البنت انه صارت كثير متشوقه ترجع لبلدها الاصلي المعروف الممول الأونروا.
Filmmaker David Badine also points out that this UN agency is funded by the U.S. taxpayers and international community.
The director of UNRWA was in our office several years ago and explained that everything happening in the UNRWA facility goes on with the permission and authorization of UNRWA.
واحنا على البحر قاعدين مبسوطين احنا والعيله وجايبين الناس على البحر، اجى الديب. ومين هذا الديب؟ اليهود. صح اليهود ديب؟ شو عملوا لنا؟ شو عملوا اليهود فينا؟ طرونا وشردونا وقتلونا وطخوا اهالينا.
UNRWA takes care of millions of Palestinian refugees. In fact, the Palestinians are the only refugee group with its own separate UN agency. A spokesman told CBN News that UNRWA was not involved in the camps.
It isn't an UNRWA summer camp. It has absolutely nothing to do with UNRWA.
Further investigation shows that UNRWA allowed a third party to use the facility for the camps. Israel says UNRWA is still responsible.
They acknowledge that this happened, and they've discontinued relations with a third party who was using their facilities.
Foreign Ministry spokesman Paul Hershen says the West and the world should still be concerned.
And it's not the first time it's happening in UNRWA facilities. Even if it's not UNRWA itself who's doing it, you know, it's my money and your money. It's taxpayer money that's funding them, and you would think that perhaps they would be able to vet the organizations that they are allowing into their facilities.
UNRWA does not get money from the United Nations. It gets money from 38 democracies The leading ones are the United States and the European Union.
At the end of the day, this kind of violent brainwashing is not helpful to anybody.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
For the latest on what's going on in the Middle East, make sure you check out the CBN News program, Jerusalem Dateline. It's now a weekly show, and you can find it at our website, cbnnews.com.
Up next, how one man made it his American duty to keep D.C. clean during the government shutdown.
Attention, sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Well, finally tonight, the Lincoln Memorial is one of the many sites shut down by the Obama administration during this Capitol Hill standoff.
But one private citizen from South Carolina has taken it upon himself to make sure the lawn is maintained. Chris Cox says he doesn't have a political position. He just feels that we're called to be good stewards of the memorials.
Building behind me serves as a moral compass, not only for the country, but for the world. And over my dead body, are we going to let this deteriorate? Does the government think that we're going to stop taking out the trash at our memorials if they shut it down? Do they think we're not going to cut the grass? Do they think we're just going to stop showing up at our parks and our memorials? No, we're not. We're going to start showing up more.
At one time, the police tried to chase him away, but Cox said he'd already finished by that point, and he's got a lot of stuff on that lawnmower.
He had a lawnmower there. So he's cutting the grass, picking up the trash. Good for him. God bless him.
On his own accord.
You know, the government shut down. I actually was affected, Mark. I can't go camping this weekend.
I know. It's affecting a lot of people.
I might go camping anyway. I'm just going to go anyway.
Civil disobedience. Thanks for watching NewsWatch.
Bye-bye. We'll see you tomorrow.